Welcome back to the Mental Health and Wellness Show. I'm your host, Dr. Tomi Mitchell, and today's episode marks the powerful conclusion to season 15. It's not just a goodbye, but it's a bold call to empowered action. This season, we set out to bridge the gap, not only between medicine and coaching, but also between surviving and thriving, between healthcare burnout and wellness transformation, between knowing and actually doing. And today, I'm going to ask you to reflect on this. Now what? What are you going to do with everything you've heard, learned, and hopefully felt over the past few weeks? The theme of bridging the gap has echoed through every episode of season 15. It's more than metaphorical, it's personal. I've worked for years as a board-certified physician and wellness coach, and let me tell you, the gap is real. There's a massive disconnect between traditional healthcare, which often focuses on managing illness, and personal empowerment, which focuses on building a vibrant, resilient life. As a physician, I saw how people were treated for symptoms, but rarely supported in creating lives that prevented these symptoms in the first place. That's why I became a coach. Coaching lets us go deeper. It brings forward the wisdom of the person, not just the expertise of the professional. Together, they're powerful. According to the American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine, patients who receive coaching alongside traditional care report higher satisfaction, better compliance, and improved outcome. This season, we've explored the why of coaching in medicine, and now we're exploring the how. How do we move from burnout and survival to energy and joy? How do we align our lives with our values? How do we bridge that final gap from inaction to action? Let's be clear. Empowered action isn't about dramatic life changes. It's not about quitting your job tomorrow or moving to Bali, though if that's your dream, I'm cheering you on. But most of the time, it's saying yes to yourself quietly and consistently. It's choosing to schedule that overdue doctor's appointment. It's blocking out 10 minutes for mindful breathing before your next Zoom call. It's finally asking for help or saying no to something that's been draining you for far too long. For me, empowered action looked like walking away from a system that no longer aligned with my values and creating something of my own. But before I got there, it looked like taking care of my body, sleeping more, processing the emotional toll of holding space for others when I felt empty. As a coach, I see how often people delay action, waiting for the perfect conditions. But here's the secret. Clarity comes through movement, not the other way around. What's one quiet, intentional action you can take this week to honor your wellness? Let's zoom out and look at the season as a whole. We've talked about redefining health beyond the absence of disease. We unpacked the limits of system-based care. We explored how physicians and anyone in a position of influence can integrate coaching techniques into their work to build connection and trust. We looked at how trauma-informed communication, emotional intelligence, and self-leadership play vital roles in wellness. We tackled burnout, not just as a workplace issue, but as a system of broken relationships with ourselves, our careers, our values. And we challenge the idea that success means sacrificing ourselves on the altar of achievement. We ask better questions this season. Not just what do you do, but who are you becoming? Not just how do you cope, but how do you heal and grow? Whenever you move towards a more empowered version of yourself, resistance will come knocking. That's just neuroscience doing its job, protecting you from the change. But we don't need protection from growth. We need permission to evolve. You don't need permission from a doctor, a spouse, a supervisor, or even your past self. You just need to decide that your next step matters. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be yours. Tools to push through resistance. Name your fear. I'm afraid if I do this, I'll fail. Find evidence. When have I succeeded despite fear? Anchor your why. I want to feel alive, not just functional. As we close out season 15, I invite you to bridge one more gap between passive listening and purposeful living. This podcast has been about equipping you, not only inspiring you. Before the day ends, identify one area where you felt stuck. Choose one empowered action. Simple, clear, intentional. Say it out loud. Write it down. Take the first step today. I believe that wellness is not something we wait for. It's something we practice. And coaching gives us the tools to take back the pen and write a new story. Whether you're a physician, a professional, a parent, or someone trying to find peace in a noisy world, know this: you're not powerless. Thank you for allowing me, Dr. Tomi Mitchell, to walk this journey with you, for leaning in, for showing up for your life, for trusting that your story isn't over just because you hit a pause. This has been the Mental Health and Wellness Show. Until next time, take action, take care of your soul, and as always, bridge the gap between knowing and living. Your next empowered action step starts now.